We wondered how all of these migrants knew about this particular entryway into California. The answer was in their hands.
How do you know about that? Oh, Douyin. Okay, TikTok.
Oh, you learned on TikTok. Yeah. TikTok is a social media platform created in China. The post we found had step-by-step instructions for hiring smugglers and detailed directions to that hole we visited U.S. Border Patrol to arrive so they could surrender.
Yes, this is sickening. I don't know if you have seen this. Illegals are using TikTok for step-by-step illustrational videos on how to enter our country illegally. China is helping to facilitate this invasion of our country. According to a tweet I recently saw, I believe you've seen this. A lot of these people are actually exposing what is going on. I have a lot of videos I'm going to play. Recently, Governor Greg Abbott had an interview.
First at 5, the situation at the southern border is showing no signs of easing up. Now the state of Florida is stepping up to help stem the flow of migrants into the United States. And that involves sending hundreds of Florida troops to Texas. Our Mark Wilson is here now to explain. So Mark, bring us up to speed.
Well, it's not the first time he's sent folks to Texas. Keep that in mind. Governor DeSantis said today that he's deploying members of the Florida State Guard and the Florida National Guard both to Texas. And the plan now is to help them assist Texas officials to try to get a better handle on the spike in undocumented immigrants right now that are crossing the U.S.-Mexico border. And this, of course, comes as the state of Texas continues to butt heads with the federal government. A dispute that stems from the Supreme Court's recent decision here to allow federal agents to remove razor wire that Texas recently installed along the border. Governor DeSantis argues that the states have the right to defend their borders regardless of what the federal government does, which is why he is sending Florida troops to Texas. And he says specifically sending the State Guard along with the National Guard because he said that's necessary for sovereignty. He says today that the federal government would have no control over our State Guard troops, unlike National Guard troops. Still, one state lawmaker slams the move, calling it a stunt, questioning the governor's focus following his run for president.
Yes, inasmuch as they are struggling to stop this invasion, there is something I saw very disturbing. Chuck Schumer threatened to send U.S. troops to fight Russia unless Republican agrees to his $100 billion war aid bill. When you take a look at this bill, which I've seen a lot of Republicans criticizing it, like, what is going on? They realize the amount of money allocated for Ukraine is more than the amount of money allocated for the border issue. So they are now saying dead on arrival. Elon Musk recently responded to something and is going viral on Twitter. Elon Musk called out $2.3 billion allocated to NGO personnel facilitating illegal immigration in border bill, and he made it clear, like, any NGO that is doing all this, facilitating the entry of illegal immigrants, should be investigated because they are the people causing what is happening.
Leader, want to get your take on the assessment at the border today. You know, you've got a border trip coming up. You are hosting several governors from across the country at the southern border today, correct? Can you tell us about it?
Sure, that's correct. Maria, more than half of the governors are now joined together in support of a very important proposition, and that is we are guaranteed by the United States Constitution the right of self-defense if states face imminent harm or invasion. Texas obviously is facing both an imminent harm as well as an invasion. And so these governors are rallying around Texas to support our ongoing right to self-defense and the deployment of this razor wire that has led to a massive reduction in inflow. Maria, get this. The area where we have occupied this park in Eagle Pass, Texas, that we put up the razor wire, there used to be 3,000 or 4,000 people crossing that area a day. For the past 3 days, we've averaged just 3 people crossing that area. The point is, if we put up resistance, we show that we can secure the border. Joe Biden should not be stopping that.
Yeah, let me get your take on what's going on in New York. We understand now.
Yes, these Democrats are very tricky. they realized it will be very difficult for them to allocate money again for Ukraine. The only thing they had to do was to make it in such a way that there should be a small package for the border. So if you reject to vote for this bill, it will be like, oh, you are a killer, you killed a bee, and they will use it as a political point. I don't know if people are actually noticing what they are doing, because at the end of the day, if this bill is not passed, they will attribute to all kind of things. I'm just waiting to see what will come out in the next few days. From my observations on Twitter, it will not pass. So what will Democrats do? Chuck Schumer threatening people like, if you don't do this, I will send these people to Ukraine. Maybe he should think to send his children to fight. Take a look at this video.
Oh man, they let Chuck Schumer back on TV.
We're at a turning point in America. This bill is crucial, and history will look back on it and say, did America fail itself? Why is it crucial? Well, if we don't aid Ukraine, Putin will walk all over Ukraine. We will lose the war, and we could be fighting in Eastern Europe and a NATO ally in a few years.
Well, with any luck, we'll find out if that's actually true here, hopefully very shortly.
Like that. If we don't help Israel defend itself against Hamas, that perpetual war will go on and on.
There was before and currently is a standalone bill in order to help Israel in their fight with Hamas. It's sitting on the Senate's desk and they haven't even looked at it. In fact, it's caused some rifts within the conservative side of things because the Freedom Caucus does not want to bankrupt America by helping out Israel, and I tend to agree. The Israeli government is not God's people. Do not come for me. But let's listen on.
And on. If we don't help humanitarian aid to the starving Palestinians in Gaza, hundreds of thousands could starve. And the border, everyone has said it's chaos. You just saw Speaker Johnson. He said it's chaos. We have to do something legislative a few months ago.
All right, that's enough. Do you know who still needs humanitarian aid? The people of Lahaina, Hawaii, and the people of Palestine, Ohio, who have seen jack diddly squat from anybody in this government entity. Not the Republicans, not the Democrats, none of them. Humanitarian aid for Palestinians. Not until we get our own humanitarian aid. And secondly, the border crisis, the one he's all talking about, it needs to be addressed, and it could be addressed, and it could be shut down if Joe Biden just says the word. If the federal government comes out and just says the word, shut it down, they could shut it down, they could revamp, they could regroup and restructure. They won't. And do you know why they won't?
Yes, what trouble millions of people is the fact that where this money should be going, they are not seeing it. We saw what happened in Lahaina. These people need help. The border need help. And all the money is going to Ukraine. If you have time, please do some research and see the amount of money they have allocated for Ukraine. You will understand exactly the kind of politics that is playing out here.
Now, Joy, I want to ask you, because we, as people that wear microphones every day, we can relate to this. But last week you had a hot mic moment that got some attention. Let's just say you used some colorful language. Who doesn't?
Not me. I'm a Christian.
But, yeah, but it seems like you were criticizing President Biden for starting another war. I don't think you're alone in concerns of that, but is that true? Like, what was behind this?
Well, I'm going to hit that with a cute no comment. No, but what I'm going to say is I am a person that I'm a study war no more kind of Christian. I'm a red letter Christian. I don't believe in war, whether it is the governor of Texas literally trying to start another civil war over an issue that his party could solve tomorrow. There's literally a bill that they just could pass.
We should be there. I mean, look, this will be the first time in my life that I agree with Joy Reid. Not another effing war, right? I'm warred out. We had Ukraine, it's 2 years, Gaza, Iran.
Years.
The federal government said, we're not helping, so Texas said, all right, enough is enough.